Hi, everyone. My name is Alyssa Goins. I am an associate software engineer at Red Hat on OpenShift AI. I work on the AI pipelines team. And today I'm going to be talking about Kind clusters as a tool for cloud-native application development. So to begin, Kind is an acronym that stands for Kubernetes in Docker. And before I get further into Kind, I figured it would be useful to touch on both of those topics. Sorry, configuring the mic a little bit. So containers are isolated executable software packages that contain everything an application needs to run, whereas Kubernetes is a platform that orchestrates those container deployments. And so it orchestrates those container deployments workloads on units called nodes, which depending on your cluster configuration are either going to hardware or virtual, which brings me to Kind. So Kind is incredibly lightweight, and one of the reasons why it's so lightweight is because instead of a hardware node, it uses a container as a node. And so it uses a Docker container, which is how we get Kind, which is Kubernetes in Docker. And so Kubeflow Pipelines is the upstream project for the AI Pipelines project at Red Hat, and my work on Kubeflow Pipelines is what introduced me to the Kind cluster mechanism. So KFP runs at CI on a Kind cluster, and the backend documentation for both running, testing, and debugging KFP locally also has the user configure a Kind cluster. I have found Kind to be a particularly useful tool as a junior software developer getting up to speed on KFP. And so some things that make Kind a particularly useful tool as a junior engineer are, first, its low knowledge overhead. Prior to my role at Red Hat, I worked in a different role as a developer where I regularly used Argo continuous deployment, or Argo CD. So I had a much more abstract experience working with Kubernetes deployments, and in terms of local clusters and pod debugging, I was pretty inexperienced. Kind has a very low knowledge overhead, and with just a few commands, you can get a cluster running without the need for much advanced configuration at all. Kind provides the user with easy access to a fail-safe Kubernetes environment. And most importantly, mistakes are okay. You can nuke your entire cluster, you can kill it, and it will come back up in 10 minutes. And it's also free, and you are not wasting anybody's resources, which I can speak from personal experience as a junior engineer, is really important for gaining both the confidence and the experience needed to work with Kubernetes. And so the screenshot here is the make, target, and Kubeflow pipelines for deploying KFP on a local Kind cluster. It's pretty simple. Just create cluster, load the KFP images via Docker or Podman, especially because I work at Red Hat, or whatever container engine has pen configured. And so then you just apply several layers of manifests, wait for the pods to come up. It takes about 10 minutes. It's very easy. And then you have your cluster up and running. And so to highlight a particular use case for Kind clusters, I'm currently working on a PR in Kubeflow Pipelines to implement an option for TLS-enabled pod-to-pod communication. This has primarily involved a lot of trial and error with customized manifests and a lot of kubectl apply-k. I think I have those commands permanently embedded in my fingers. And so Kind has been an excellent environment for being able to test my implementations immediately. Obviously, since Kind is such a lightweight, straightforward implementation, that comes with the drawback of being rather simple. They don't have the extended functionality of more powerful clusters. I think the thing that annoys me the most is that after you've loaded in your container images, there's no mechanism to actually see what container images have been loaded into the cluster, which can be pretty frustrating for local testing. But this is an actively maintained project. And so all you have to do is create an issue, which I haven't done yet. Alrighty, and so my last slide is just some Kind resources. I have up the 1.0 roadmap and the Git repository and the project page. Thank you.
So how difficult is it to start using kind? Is it super easy? It's not as tough as Kubernetes?
Yeah, so you just need to install the kubectl CLI, and you
Hmm.
also need to install kind, and from there you can just create your cluster.
Do I need external nodes, or does it like deploy?
No, so kind, the node that it runs on is is a Docker image, which
Hmm.
is included in the kind software package.
Got it. And you said it's not supported anymore, like it's not get actively developed?
No, so it is. It is an
Oh, it
actively
is?
maintained
Okay,
project. Yeah.
got it. Thank you.
Hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly. What is kubectl? Is that
Yeah, so kubectl, so that's the Kubernetes command line tool.
okay?
Great presentation. Have you seen any comparisons between kind and Minikube, or did you ever try Minikube to see if it was helpful compared to kind?
Yes, that's definitely a great question. It is on my to-do list. Currently, I have been sucked in by kind, and I haven't tried anything else, and so I can't speak to that. But I know it is also a good alternative.
um, feature. So if I was to use Podman, and specifically for me, I'm a visual person, I'm a designer, so I actually install Podman Desktop, but I know Kind shows up as a plugin of Podman. Is that the same thing, and I'm just getting to it through a different way? Or is it a
In my
different thing?
understanding, yes. I haven't really worked with Podman Desktop, but I know that kind is very easily configured across multiple container engines. It's just kind with Docker because kind is a pretty acronym, but it's very easily configured with any engine that you pick.
Right, and if you use, but you use Kind standalone, you don't, or you use
Yes,
Kind
I use
with
kind
Docker?
standalone. Yes, and so I've configured it to run. If I go back to this screenshot, you can see here in the Kubeflow Pipelines make file, there is a variable for container engine. And so I've specifically configured it to use Docker, but I could easily put Podman in instead.
Thank you.
So given kind runs inside a container, it's Kubernetes in a container, have you hit any like resource or limit issues while using it with Kubeflow pipelines?
I have not hit any resource limit issues running with Kubeflow pipelines. Granted, I haven't run any powerful pipelines on it. I've run the Kubeflow sample pipelines, which mostly test like functionality. So it'll test like, oh, can it retry 3 times? And I've run the backend integration tests, and I haven't run into any resource issues there.
That's great to know.